Hey guys, quick little introduction to this vlog. It's the first day of Ancientsathon. It's June 1st, and I am going to be reading Julius Caesar right now. I was going back and forth between Julius Caesar and Henry VI and Henry VI Part 2, I should say, and Winter's Tale and a couple others, but I just decided on Julius Caesar because it's been a really long time since I had originally planned to read that, and yeah, it's just time to get that done. Tonight, my family and I are going to go see Top Gun, is that what it's called? Maverick, whatever, with Tom Cruise. I've never seen the first one, I'm gonna be honest, but I just want to go to the movie theater. They invited me, and my parents will probably just fill me in on basics of the first one so that I can kind of know what's going on in the second one. So that's the plan right now. And yeah, I will just check in once I've probably finished Julius Caesar, probably tomorrow once I finished it, and then I will be starting the book of the City of Ladies. So we'll go to that point. Hey guys, so it is Tuesday the 7th of June. It's been obviously a little bit since I last updated you. Since it's been so long, I thought I'd give you a little update on how Ancientsathon is going, my other reading, and I have a little mini haul for you as well. So first of all, I did finish Julius Caesar the other day. It was really great. Definitely a new favorite Shakespeare. I don't know exactly where it would go in my ranking of the ones I've read yet, but it is very possible it's in my top 5. I'm actually planning to do, I don't know if the video will be out already. If it is, I'll link it below. If not, you can look forward to that. I'm going to do a video discussing my top 5 favorite Shakespeare plays, which I'm still kind of mulling over. So anyway, that will be coming, and Julius Caesar definitely was a success and may be on that list. I also did start the book of the City of Ladies. I'm not halfway through. This just has a really long introduction, so that looks further than I actually am, but I am making progress. I have not read what I need to read today yet, but I must say it's actually been really funny and interesting to read, a little bit more than I was expecting. I mean, I was very excited to read this because it just sounded fascinating, but it's definitely been easier to read and get into than I expected it to be. It's been really fun to see this very early sort of proto-feminist viewpoint on women. So yeah, really enjoying that and excited to continue and to finish within the next week or so. Outside of Ancientsathon, I have decided to move to the audiobook for Mirror in the Light by Hilary Mantel. I just was really struggling to find any motivation to read it, like, ever. I'm still interested in the story. It's not that I'm hating it or anything. It just is a slower paced book than the first two, especially than compared to the second one. Additionally, I've mentioned before in previous videos that Hilary Mantel's writing in this series is kind of hard for me to follow. My brain just does not compute it very well, but I am finding that the audiobook actually is helping me comprehend a lot better what's going on and what exactly is being discussed and the little subtleties. I think the narrator does a really good job of playing with subtleties in the way he says things, which makes the subtext of the conversations much easier to understand. So I really appreciate that, and I'm glad I decided to make that change. Outside of Ancientsathon, I'm still, of course, reading Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I am about halfway through, so going really well with that and still loving it, of course. We're reaching the turning point where it switches from happy to sad again, so I'm a little stressed about that, but overall, it's just going really well. I'm really loving annotating it, and it's fun to read it slow as well. And then since I decided to move away from Mirror in the Light as a physical read and change that to an audiobook, I had a spot open in my reading as book of the City of Ladies. I'm reading only 20 pages a day and then just a chapter of Tess a day. So I wanted to have another book that would be able to kind of be something I read if I have more time and energy to read and have that desire. So what I decided to choose for that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've had this book for several years now and I just have not gotten to it, but this is my actually TBR tackle pick for Kieran from Katie Books' TBR tackle challenges that he's doing every month. month, so this is the one I ended up picking because I just needed something not a classic, not very dense, not very literary. I just wanted something fun and exciting. I know very little about this. I mean, I know it's kind of like a dystopic science fiction type setting. I believe it's on Mars, and we follow different classes of people, and I believe our main character is from the lowest class, and he ends up kind of leading a rebellion. That's all I really know. I've heard it's pretty exciting, and yeah, I've just, like I said, I've had it for a long time. I don't know if I'll read the rest of this series. It will depend on how this goes for me. I don't have super high expectations because this isn't necessarily the type of book I read anymore. This used to be my style of book, which is why I got it years ago, but it kind of isn't anymore. But I've kept it because I've held enough interest that I want to at least give it a shot. So we'll see how it goes, if I end up really loving it or if it just is a nice fun read for the month. I don't think I'm going to dislike it, so if I do, then that will be very disappointing. But anyway, yes, I've literally read like 3 pages, so not far at all into this, but I'm excited to get further. So yes, that's where I'm at with reading, and then I thought I would show you my quick book haul. I ended up getting a few things from Thrift Books. I had a free book available, and there's one of these books that was not my free book because it was too expensive to be my free book, but it's one that I've just really wanted to get so I could read it either in June or July, because I'm going to the Shakespeare Festival towards the end of July, and I wanted to read this before that. And that book is LearWife by JR Thorpe. This is a recent release following King Lear's wife as she's in a convent, and that's all I really know about it, but I think the cover is lovely. I haven't necessarily heard much about this as far as opinions go. I've heard a couple people mention it as a new release, but beyond that, I haven't seen anybody who's read it. I think the only one who I know has tried to read it was Charlotte from Kamoie Reads, and she ended up DNFing it, but it sounded like it was more because it wasn't her type of story. She didn't really like the church kind of nunnery setting, which I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily my type of story either. I haven't really read much within that setting, but I am still willing to give it a try, and King Lear is one of the plays that's being performed at the Shakespeare Festival this year, which is why I wanted to read this before I went to see that, if I could. I mean, if not, it's totally fine. This next book I ended up picking up because I recently read a collection of short stories kind of called A Year of Ravens, which was about Boudica's rebellion. I say a collection of short stories, but it was a little bit different. It was more like a story told in multiple perspectives, although it never returns to any of the perspectives except for the first one it briefly returns to at the end. It was definitely an interesting read, and there was one author in there that I just really liked her writing style, her approach to the subject matter a lot, and I had never read anything else by her, so I decided to pick this one up because it's one of her more popular, and that is America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray, who is the author that I was mentioning, and then Laura Kamoie? I don't know how to pronounce that, but there you go. Apparently they co-authored this. I don't know exactly what the interaction was with it because I think it's told in just one perspective, and most of the time when it's a dual authorship I expect it to be multiple perspectives. But anyway, this follows the story of Patsy Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson's oldest daughter, and just her experiences going with him to France and discovering his liaison with Sally Hemings, as well as her finding her own romance. So it sounds really interesting. I've been in a bit of a Revolutionary War kick. I recently rewatched John Adams, the miniseries, which I absolutely adore. So I may end up getting to this soon. I actually am thinking about maybe doing an American history themed reading month a little bit in July. I mean, I still want to participate in Jane Austen July as well, but I may try to read 1 or 2 that are set in America. I don't know. We'll see how that ends up going, but I am excited to have this. And then this last one was interesting because when I first heard about this book on BookTube, I just wasn't really that interested. It didn't really seem like my kind of thing, but the more I learn about it, the more I feel like I actually might really enjoy it. So that book is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This is on the women's shortlist, I believe, the Women's Prize for Fiction shortlist it was definitely on the long list. I think it's on the short list as well. Sorry about the library copy glare on that. But anyway, I believe this follows two timelines. One towards the early 1900s where this woman learns to be a pilot. She becomes the first person to attempt to circumnavigate the globe, and she ends up going missing. And then the other timeline we follow is a actress who is playing this woman in a film that is being made. I've heard really great things about it. I'm pretty sure everybody I've seen who's read it has at least liked it, even if they don't love it, which I think is pretty, you know, compelling and hopeful. So we'll see how it goes for me. I don't know, but it just ended up sounding interesting, and I was able to find it for a pretty good deal on Thrift Books, which with it being a relatively new release, I was pretty excited about. So don't know when I'll get to this, but I'm excited to have it on my shelves as an option for whenever I am in the mood for something like it. And that is it for my hauls. So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading of Book of the City of Ladies and Tess of the D'Urbervilles for sure. Beyond that, I don't know if I'll end up reading Red Rising or if I'll just watch something. I'm pretty tired from work, so yeah, we'll just have to see what ends up happening, but that's where I'm at, and I will update you in a couple days. Hey guys, so it is Wednesday the 15th of June, and I still have not finished this vlog. I meant to do it on Monday, but I just ended up not doing it. Luckily, nothing much happened with my reading yesterday, so I can just kind of go back to Monday, and it's the morning of Wednesday, so I haven't read anything today either, so I'll probably just start my next vlog after this. But let's just get into what I ended up reading over the past several days since I last updated you. Don't mind my stuffed animal Grinch that's just chilling right there. It fell off my bookshelf because it's still there from Christmas, and I just didn't notice until actually this moment. So anyway, I did end up finishing the Book of the City of Ladies by Monday, and I ended up really enjoying it. I mean, books like this are never going to be a favorite for me. They're just not the style of book that would ever be a favorite, but I still did really enjoy this. I thought it was very thought-provoking. It was really interesting to just see through the eyes of a woman of the 1400s how she views the role of women, the position of women at the time. And I really loved that it explored not only Christian women, but also women that Christine considers to be pagan, but she points out all these good qualities in them. And I really appreciated that more nuanced look at the situation, at women. This book really is a book dedicated to women more than it is a book dedicated to Christianity. That being said, there is a lot of religious context in here. There's a lot of discussion. I mean, it ends with filling the City of Ladies with ladies, and pretty much all the ladies mentioned are Christian martyrs and female saints. So definitely it rounds out with this focus on good Christian women in a lot of ways, but it is still a really interesting look at all the good qualities of women, at the power of women. Of course, there are some aspects of it that we today wouldn't necessarily agree with. Most people today wouldn't necessarily agree with regarding the position of women, but that being said, it is still a really fascinating look at early feminism, and this translation was really easy to read and get into and understand, so definitely one I would recommend. I think it's by, Earl Jeffrey Richards is the translator, and I felt like he did a decent job. I am not really very good at knowing when translations are good though, so I'm just going based on how it read, and for a book like this, it read very easily, so yeah, would recommend this, and I'm really excited to be discussing it with my fellow hosts for Ancientsathon whenever we're able to figure that out. I actually need to update them and let them know on our Voxer group that I have finished. I haven't because I've been a little all over the place. I've been a little bit fatigued the past few days. I'm not diagnosed with anything. I don't even know. I don't think I really have anything, to be frank. I just do tend to have kind of some days where I just struggle a lot more to get moving. I think a lot of it comes from depression and anxiety as opposed to a chronic illness of some kind, but I did have a few days where I was just kind of slogging through life a little bit, which again, I mentioned these things not for pity or anything. You don't need to worry about me. It's just normal life stuff, but it just does get in the way of me being able to really engage sometimes with the booktube community because I just am not motivated to pick up my phone and leave a message on Boxer or to put a post on Instagram or things like that. So anyway, that all being said, I do need to update them that I did finish that book. As far as what else I'm reading, Mirror in the Light, I still have about 10 hours in the audiobook, so I'm really hoping I can finish by the end of the month. I'm going to try, that's my goal. I do have a trip coming up that will be in my next vlog, actually, that I don't think it's not super far, but it will be a bit of a drive, so I'll probably take that opportunity to listen to that for a while, at least during that, the driving part of that trip. And then, of course, I always listen to it to and from work, so hopefully by the end of the month I will be able to finish that. It's definitely been a good thing for me to switch to audiobook on that. I'm glad I made that decision, not only because it's helping me to actually get through it, but also because it's allowed me to be reading Red Rising, which I am not quite halfway through, so not terribly far. I know if I give myself a chance to just sit down in an evening at starting at 6 or 7 o'clock and just sit and read this, that I will get way into it and be able to read through it pretty quickly, get a good chunk of it done. I just haven't been able to do that yet, partly due to the fatigue situation that's been going on the past few days, but also just life has things going on. So anyway, I'm hoping I'll be able to do that at some point this week because I think I'll be able to finish it pretty quickly if I just give myself the time to. But it's really good so far. Do I think that I'll be reading the rest of the series? Not necessarily. I mean, I could. I'm not averse to it right now, but it's not necessarily one that I would be itching so far to pick up the next one. But for right now, I'm glad I'm reading it. It's definitely very entertaining. It's what I need right now, a faster paced, more entertaining read. I definitely see why it's being compared to Ender's Game and Hunger Games. There's definitely a lot of similar aspects to this story, to those two stories. But it is, of course, its own story, and I'm just excited to get through it again. Will I read the rest of the series? As of this point, I would say probably not, but that's not because I'm disliking this, it's just because I'm not liking it enough. With all the other books in my life I need to read, I'm not liking it enough to continue. But I'm glad to be reading it right now. Briefly on Tess, I am over halfway through. I've just reached a really sad point where, okay, the sad stuff hasn't happened yet, but I just finished the chapter where the happiness is over. So I know what's coming in the next chapter and where things are going to come out, and it's just really sad, and I'm not really excited. I actually, after this, need to do an update on my spoiler vlog for this, because I did just finish part 4. But anyway, I just really love Hardy's writing. I love how much symbolism and little foreshadowing moments are in this. In part 4, there's a lot of nature writing that is symbolic of what's going on with the characters. That is just beautiful, and I absolutely love it. Also, there's certain sentences that in a lot of ways could be seen as cliche as far as what it's trying to say, but the way Hardy writes it just adds a new dimension to that maybe possibly cliche sentence that is just beautiful, and just the way he words things is so enchanting and just brings this almost romance to everyday life and thought that I just really appreciate. I think that's one of my favorite things about Thomas Hardy, is not only does he write these beautiful stories with beautiful nature writing and sometimes some supernatural elements to them, but within those stories he puts very realistic people. Even though a lot of what's going on is very convenient and kind of odd, like that's just a chance happening that just caused all these other issues, the people involved feel very real, and the way they think and see the world and see the people around them is very understandable within these very coincidental and almost supernatural encounters, and I just really love the way he does that. So excited to be continuing with this very slowly, like I've said before, but it's going great. It's going great. So that is it. I will end this vlog here. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, your thoughts on them. This vlog ended up being very short as I wasn't doing very much these past couple weeks, but maybe this next one will have a bit more as I have my trip. Like I said, it's a family reunion, so we'll be doing fun activities. It will be at a cabin, and yeah, should be fun. So I will take you along with me there in the next vlog, but until then, thank you so much much for watching again. Happy reading, and I will see you next time. Bye!